I know what we need is a treehouse.
I've always dreamed of building a treehouse, and as I started to get into the short-term rental game, I realized that they were one of the most marketable and desirable forms of unique experiences across the board. I mean, if you just peruse Airbnb, it's not hard to find treehouse listings that are booked months in advance, anywhere from $300 to $600 a night. But one does not simply just build a treehouse. It actually requires quite a bit of planning and engineering to get the job done, which is exactly what we're talking about on today's episode of Robuilt. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Robuilt. I'm super excited because today I'm meeting with a structural engineer that specializes in treehouse design. He's a design consultant for people that like to build tree houses, and what I like about him is a lot of the times with engineers, they are all about the numbers, but why I'm so excited about working with him is that he's actually got a design eye and he's actually able to sketch out concepts with me and ideate on what the structure could be. So we're heading down to the bottom of the mountain to meet with them now. So this is interesting. When it rains here, my creek starts to fill up a lot. I know everyone on the channel rails on me for having my Airstream by my stream, which I think is the name of it, the stream by the stream. To address that, what I think I'm gonna do is actually build a really big platform that we're actually gonna back the Airstream on to keep it about 29 inches off the ground, which is, I know, oddly specific, but whenever you build 30 inches or taller, you actually have to get a permit and get inspections, and it's a whole headache. So the hack is just to go a little smaller. So I'm gonna keep it 29 inches off the ground. The Airstream is gonna be raised, and hopefully flooding will never be an issue. So if you see here, this is actually the fastest I've ever seen the water here. It might seem a little scary for an Airbnb guest, but I actually think it makes it feel quite adventurous. Imagine being in a treehouse right up here, which is actually what we're meeting today about. A treehouse up here, you've got this Airstream that's elevated off the ground, you've got hammocks, you've got a whole experience here, you're immersed in nature, and then you get to just view this stream flowing, hopefully not flooding your car, but I think it's awesome. I love this. It's been my dream for a long time to own a house on acreage, to own land. And this is just one of the cool things. Like, I get to experience pretty much every facet of Mother Nature. We'll see if I'm as excited about this stream if it ever actually ends up flooding my Airstream, but for now I'm good with it. You know what? It's so nuts being in here because I think the first time I did a tour, a mini tour of my land, it was all dead. There was no greenery, and like literally walking in here, I guess figuratively, I don't know, maybe, what do you think about that? Figuratively, it's like an enchanted forest in here, full of poison oak that will inevitably be my downfall, but that's okay. Hey pal. Howdy. Welcome to the Robuilt YouTube channel. So we all know that I'm not good at math, and while I'm pretty good at building, there are a lot of liabilities that come into play when you're just throwing together a treehouse. So I brought in Daniel. He's got a background in structural engineering,
leading me into treehouse engineering. I figured that would be a good foundation, no pun intended, to
yeah. Why not? Why not intend it?
Yeah, I did definitely think of that a year ago and have been waiting to use it.
You've been waiting for this moment on the Robuilt YouTube channel.
That's right. Yeah, so we've got a lot going on here.
So as someone that specializes in tree houses, tell me, like, what is the first step? Like, we want to build tree houses here. We know that. We've discussed that. What do we do first?
Yeah, so the first step is a lot of assessment, which we have to bring in an arborist for because they're really, experts on the trees themselves as well as all the ecology that's going on in the forest. Because you're building in this live, existing environment, we have to, ensure that it's healthy. The land, as you can see, is very wild and natural, so cleaning it up is going to improve the health of the trees that we build in. So that's all a big part of it. And then where I come in is where the building and the tree kind of come together. But essentially a tree is just a big fat column, right?
The original column.
The original column.
Yeah, the OG.
Nature's column.
Nature's column.
So it can take a lot of vertical load. These trees are heavy, and the connections and hardware is constantly being innovated, so keeping up with that is a big part of it as well.
This is the Echo Built channel now, huh?
Before we actually get into the tree assessment, I was hoping you could explain, you were talking about hardware. There's a really big important piece of hardware that's needed, and that's called a tab.
Yeah.
A treehouse assessment bolt?
A treehouse attachment bolt.
Oh, I'm so close.
It's essentially a giant bolt that you stick into the tree that can carry a beam or any kind of heavy vertical load. It is a very common and important piece of hardware for treehouse engineering, and it's been around for a while, and it's performed very, very well over the years.
Now, can you use a regular bolt in a treehouse?
The treehouse attachment bolt is built a little bit different. It's thickened right where it meets the tree, right in the middle of the bolt, and that's called the boss. and it's thickened right there to a very large cross-sectional area, which gives it an incredible amount of shear strength. It's also threaded on the end that you put it into the tree, and it's threaded on the end that sticks out, so you can put a little bolt on there.
It's kind of secured on the other side of the tree.
To secure your arrestor that slips in so it doesn't slide out.
So it looks like you've been a busy bee all day today. I see a lot of flags and some red X's. So can you take us through a little bit of the process here?
All right, so we have a lot of the trees that we're gonna get in our tree survey marked here with the flag. Also identified some of the dead trees that are definitely getting cut and coming down with the red paint. This is a poplar tree.
You know how I know that? Because of the way it is.
How neat is that?
Cool.
This is actually a poison ivy vine that's pretty mature here.
Poison ivy is something that runs rampant in a lot of the forests out here in Tennessee and can be detrimental to the health of my trees. So after talking with an arborist, we decided that the best course of action was going to be to sever off 4-foot sections from the vines to kill off the poison ivy, hopefully improving the health of nature's columns.
But otherwise, it's in great shape. It's a nice size, it's mature, it might be 20 years old or so, very straight, and seems like a very good candidate for a tree house. Yeah, those tree tabs we were talking about that go in and they have a shear capacity, how much weight they can hold, those may vary and get twice as strong in those hardwoods as they are in the softwoods. I mean, this is probably like 10 to 15 inch diameter tree, so it's not I think you want like a 20-inch diameter tree or something that you're gonna put some heavy loads in. So this is a very obvious candidate for removal.
What gave it away is that all the bark coming up. This isn't poison ivy.
So let's take a look at a less obvious case.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
So this tree is a little less obvious. It's not as old or decaying. It's not hollow, but if you pan up to the canopy here, you'll see that there's almost no leaves on this tree. It's not doing very well. It's not likely to survive, so removing it is going to be the best thing to do for the health of the entire forest.
Can you show us like an example of a really nice tree that would be worth building in, or maybe another good tree? I would hope that I have pretty good trees here, but maybe show me a couple.
You don't have to be an expert to know you have some very good trees.
Yes!
Let's go. Let's check them out.
You're right, man. Let's get out of here. Let's do this.
These tree houses aren't that heavy, so comparatively to the tree weight itself, the tree house is very light.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. Obviously, this would be a very thick tree. This could support a large weight from a tree house, but once we start connecting it to other trees in the area, do they all start to equally contribute, or is this kind of the one that's taking most of that weight?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about what your structure looks like, how the weight's distributed, and then as a structural engineer, you have to do what's called a load path and follow the load from snow on top of the roof all the way through the walls, all the beams, every connection, into the tree, into the ground. On
top of the actual structural engineering component to it, as I talked about in one of my other videos, civil engineering is also going to play a really key role in this, because a civil engineer basically comes out and helps you plan out your land in a way that is most intuitive with Mother Nature, so that you're not just chopping down trees and building on streams. They're really helping you plan out your space in a way that A, the city will approve of, but B, in a way that works with Mother Nature cohesively. Is that right, Mr. Engineer?
That's right.
Yes! Spoiler alert, I usually know the answers to most of these. I'm just throwing Daniel some softballs over here. No, not really, I don't know anything. Look at this cute little guy. Actually, not cute at all. Really the things that nightmares are made of, but that's okay. This is what we're talking about.
Eat it. Eat it.
Fine! So obviously this is perhaps the best tree that we could build in.
Yeah, this is a great tree. This is a great tree for some light carving that you want to do with a chisel.
Or a great tree for dying.
Yeah.
Surveying the land with an experienced treehouse designer like Daniel was pretty eye-opening for me, especially when it came to understanding what kind of trees I can and can't build in. Sadly, a lot of the trees that seemed pretty promising weren't particularly viable candidates. For example, there was this gorgeous tree right up on my creek, and while the root system seemed very strong and robust, the fact that the soils and roots were exposed and constantly being flooded by water made using this tree a risky endeavor in the long run. So this tree is dead to me. Let's go check out the Airstream, because that's actually the first project that we have slated for the Robuilt Tiny House Village, which we're still trying to name. So if you got a cool name for my tiny house village, drop it down below. X marks the spot, baby. Speaking of X marks the spot, don't forget to smash the sub button and the like button if you like this video. If you're learning anything, if you're getting value, just give it a little tap it. A little tappy tap on that thumbs up. All right, let's go.
All right, so you've got this lovely tree here. It's huge. It's actually 120 feet tall, which I measured with this Nikon Forestry Pro 2. Problem is it's built into a bit of a slope and it could fall soon, but when it does fall, it's definitely gonna fall towards your airstream.
No! I really wanted to build a tree house with that tree. So, course of action here, we got to remove it no matter what.
Yeah, and the arborist did suggest that we remove it, and I totally agree. It's just a lot safer to get that out of the way before any kind of construction is in the area.
And what did she give you a price on what it would cost?
She said about $5,000.
Oh, now I see why she recommended removing it. That makes a lot of. I need to become an arborist.
Yeah, well, also hauling out 120 feet of lumber is part of that cost.
Yeah, sure. Tell it to the judge, pal. No, yeah, I get it. It's a service. Arborists, we love you. Thank you. We're going to be utilizing your services to build awesome tree houses out here.
Right here, we've got a nice hemlock.
This guy right here?
Yeah, the one right behind the airstream. Okay. And you can see there's no leaves kind of on the lower half of the tree. And the arborist cleared us to clean up and trim all of those branches that are right above your airstream. And it's really straight, it's got a good root system, and it's the right age and size, so that can definitely take some support and be one of our posts for a treehouse.
So here's the hack here. Planning and zoning won't really allow me to Airbnb my Airstream. From my understanding, the land here is not zoned for RV or trailer use. But what I can do is build a structure that I can permit, such as a treehouse, for example, and I can go through the inspection and the permitting and the architectural process and have it built and actually use my Airstream as a bonus room. But the treehouse itself is what's permitted and useful, and that's where people will sleep and people can just hang out in the Airstream. And if they choose to take a nap in the Airstream overnight, come at me, planners. No, I'm just kidding. Well, we're gonna follow the rules. So what I really like about this spot for the Airstream is that the Airstream A fits. We've got the sort of an RV pad right here. We have what used to be an electrical pole. We'll probably have to replace that, but we've got this entire nook right here. And so sort of what Daniel and I are batting around is we're gonna build some kind of deck structure with the treehouse that kind of sits above. So the treehouse will be in the air, pretty standard for a treehouse. And then we'll have the Airstream as a nice juxtaposition sitting on the floor with a nice wraparound deck. And if we can swing it, a hot tub that's also up at the top so you can be in a hot tub and look out at the creek. That's sort of my dream, but we'll see if Daniel feels we can.
Whoa. You didn't say anything about a hot tub.
yeah, I knew you were gonna get, I knew it. It's not gonna be a cheap endeavor because wood has actually gone up over 100% in the last year. So it's probably pretty costly from the lumber side of things, but we're working on designs that will hopefully be cost efficient. Maybe. Yeah, we'll see.
Hopefully.
If anybody needs a kidney, let me know. So, pretty run and gun episode today because honestly, I mean, this is what, your second day here?
Yeah, I just got here.
We've got 3 more days with Daniel here. He's surveying the land, he's measuring trees, he's marking trees that are dead, he's marking potential candidates to build tree houses on. But honestly, we're really just at the beginning of this. I mean, we had an arborist come out today, and then we're gonna have that same arborist come out on Friday as well. We're gonna go meet with the city planners on Thursday, and we're gonna talk with them about our plan to see, hey, can we collaborate with you to build somewhat of an Airstream jungle gym tree house? So we're still designing a lot of this, but we're figuring it out. But right now, what's clear is there's a lot of planning that goes into the actual structural engineering of a tree house or any structure, especially when you're developing a tiny house village. So a lot of answers are unknown right now, but I'm really happy that you came out. Thank you so much for coming on the channel. I'm sure Daniel will make an appearance in another video or 2. I don't know, maybe. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully. Thanks for having me. It's been really nice surveying the land. It's just really cool, very wild, and I think you can do a lot of cool things with it.
Don't forget to hit the like button.